Hello, Warriors. I hope everyone had a good time at their Super Bowl party. How's everyone doing? Hello, Alexander. Welcome to F.A.C.E. Hi, Bran. Kman, Ryan, Sinatra, Marcus, how are you? Amira, you're happy in Israel? Well, you're the only guy in Israel. AJ, that's happy, I think. All right, let's go to work. And we have the right team to go to work with. So let's see who's here for my team. Okay. Both Brian and Kman are here. So good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Dale. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Dale.
Hey, guys. How you doing, Blake? Everyone doing okay?
Hell of a Super Bowl. Good morning.
Yeah, it was. It's a bearish indicator, right? Like last year. The Super Bowl indicator did work for part of the year. So
yeah,
I mean,
well,
until October.
I'm definitely not big on that, but it was a good game. I was really pulling for the 49ers because Brock Purdy's a local boy from just down the street. So
yeah, I was too, Blake.
Hey, it's unfortunate. It wasn't his fault, and he played a hell of a game. So
yeah, he did. I mean, really, the guy, his life has really changed in a year or two, hasn't it? So,
oh my God, yes.
So that could happen to us too, right?
That's right. In the markets, all you got to do is be short the stock market at the right time. Just kidding. I'm gonna let you.
All right, man.
Talk with Kman and Ryan for a bit.
I think a lot of people are hungover from their Super Bowl party today. Anyway, Ryan, what do you think? I mean, I'm in this what if, and I look at the Dixie, and I could see it either way, that we could still come out of here, or is this a descending triangle? And the strangest action I'm seeing is, silver up 40 cents with gold down 3, yen coming off. How's the board look to you?
Yeah, as much as you said, a bit fence sitting and waiting to see what's going on. We've got a big data week this week. US CPI tomorrow, retail sales later, housing stuff, PPI. What I've noticed from the calendar, there's a lot of UK, a lot of US, not much Eurozone. So this could be a bit of a mover for both UK, the pound, and obviously the dollar. Can it be enough to break some of the ranges? That we need to decide. We've come through a lot of stuff, and it couldn't break. So I mean CPI tomorrow. That's the big one. Could set us up for direction for the whole week.
Aussie has a nice looking little, sideways consolidation pattern. Looks like it wants this, 65 and a half or so.
Yeah.
Maybe 65.80 if the dollar's heading down first. Yen, we kind of stalled. Are we going to still blast one more time? Yields, 10-year. There's a lot out. All right. There's a lot of the whole board almost looks like I don't know to me. And if there's anything that gave me a signal that I have a little conviction on, and I know even Blake is looking at this now, pretty good gap up. Doesn't mean it'll fill the gap, but we ever get over 1550. And this chart in the Dow, so before it happened yesterday in F.A.C.E, we needed one more high in the Dow for a 3 drive, and it's the only index that was lower on Friday. So, it's not that bearish when the generals retreat, but even on the daily. So look, I mean, daily we've been diverging, whereas you look at the daily of NASDAQ, we're diverging, but over 80. S&Ps, we're diverging, but over 70 up here. I mean, we're diverging from here. So the weakest RSI structure is this. Anyway,
I think what you're saying is right. You may not have a lot of conviction in what markets are doing, but there's a lot of things that are sitting on the edge. so to speak. Those yields sitting on the 420 mark, can't quite break it, but not coming too far from it. The Dow's sitting up near the highs, and so it could be a really decisive week if we get some of these moves happening. 420 goes in tens, then the dollar's off and running, and that may mean we break higher in dollar yen, or we start really breaking some of these range lows in euro dollar and cable and Aussie dollar. So yeah, while we're waiting for that to happen, there's not a lot going on, but we really are on some key levels that could trigger some decent moves.
Okay, so we're on watch. Anything that you have enough conviction about to hold before the CPI tomorrow?
I'm only in mainly long-term stuff, but obviously my S&Ps, I'll sit on those. There's no signs of that turning just yet, but I am getting a little bit worried that maybe we're getting a lot of latecomers just trying to chase it now up here. We're not getting any decent dips for them to get in, so any half sniff of a dip is getting buyers in, and that can often be a bit of a trigger that we might be near the top when those guys start chasing things.
Okay. Kman, what do you think about this silver move? Do you think it could do it now the gold's recovering?
Well, it's going on its own, right? It's going on its own. Gold is relatively stable. I must say I haven't really gone too deep into it or researching what exactly put it on there, but something perhaps in the Middle East, a bit of opium. I don't know.
Look how this turned.
Yeah, exactly. That one turned, and we said it. If that turns, then probably silver will make a run for it. And it goes on its own. Also compared to the rest, right? Okay, copper slightly up, but
copper's in a downtrend.
Palladium back a bit up. Platinum back a bit up as well. Those ones, and I guess we watch those ones more for silver than we would actually watch gold, wouldn't we?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean it's going. I've got my long-term longs, but haven't really added much to it. But we must say that it's holding those low 22s pretty well. It's going to take
going for these highs, don't you think? Maybe
Yeah, I guess so. We are going for a retest of those. But it tried quite a few times now in those mid to low 22s, and it's holding very well. That's I guess encouraging unless we see major bad numbers out of the States, perhaps, or a bad saying for the metals also. That's what I mean.
And if the dollar rolls over, that would be jet fuel.
Yeah, that would be. In this case, it would be really. But will it? I don't know. I mean,
is it a flag and we're going to blow up, head up towards 105, or are we going to break down under, 380 was a big level. We didn't get here, but this line here, based upon the breakout of these tops, is a pretty big level. So.
Yeah, and we're not that far from decent levels there. I think that level in the Dixie will probably coincide with your 107 and a quarter, 107.15 on the euro dollar. Yeah, and we are not too far from those levels, so it's going to be an interesting watch this week because there's a lot of data out there. I expect at least a few currencies, the dollar is one thing, sees a lot of data, but then I expect a few currencies to be on the move, and sterling as well. I've got a lot of data out of the UK this week. Not so sure about the commodity currencies. If there's much on the docket, I haven't really looked at it. And then that's the euro looks still a tad weak to me. We had a quick visit this morning at the opening of the European opening of the morning. Quick look over 108, and it goes straight away slammed back down. So euro looking a little fragile to me. So if we would get supportive dollar numbers. I wouldn't be surprised if we going for the real test of that 107.25, 107.15.
Yeah, so it looks like the whole board is kind of dependent upon tomorrow's number.
It's a whole week. It's tomorrow, of course. Everybody is looking at that CPI, and everybody will be all over it, right? But it's not only CPI. Huh? We've got retail sales later in the week as well for the dollar. So it's going to be a case of confirming what we see later on this week on the CPI tomorrow. If you get several data pointing the same way, then the dollar will take a direction. Yeah, but we can't forget that the volatility, FX vols are low, especially in the euro dollar. So there's going to be a lot of people having bought options into the events, and we may see still quite a bit of interest on the edges of the ranges.
Okay. All right, and what else are we going to cover? We're going to have Shy Girl here today, so maybe we should cover our views on WTI. Anyone have a view?
Oh, I think we're in a big ass range. So
okay,
that's my view. I'm sticking to it. We're in a big range.
Okay.
Is that the bouncing castle pattern? Go down, you bounce. You go down again, you bounce again.
Okay. Yeah. So you know, I know a lot of people are long term. There are a lot of bears out there. So yeah, it's been contained here. It almost looks a little bit like USD MEX. But that's a pretty nice base, for as bearish as everyone is. I think there was a lot of OPEC news about people talking about sticking to their production levels, Iraq, etc. And
I think it's interesting technically how you can't get back above the 200 DMA there.
Yeah.
No one wants to be long on the demand side, and no one wants to be short on the Middle East risk side. So yeah, that's why it's going sideways.
Yeah.
But yes, it's stopped falling since October. That's the first thing you want, when you're looking to buy something.
Right. Okay. Viewing. We know Ryan's still long. It's been a great trade in S&Ps. Russell had a pretty good day. Russell looks all right, doesn't it?
That looks like a Gartlet pattern setting up.
Yeah, would it take a new high, Blake, for Gartlet to complete?
Nope.
Okay.
It would stop. It would stop ahead of that. So
right around here. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you could show it. So I think a lot of people don't even know what a Gartlet is.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. Let me go ahead and pull it up. This is just grab it. Anyway, yeah, it's a very interesting and very slow market. As everybody, I think you're going to see some dollar moves later on today, and as people square up ahead of tomorrow. But here's the Russell, just like a longer term view of the Russell. I should get rid of that line. The Gartlet pattern would look something like this. So you have your final like reversal point is going to be up around this 100. I would say it's 127% extension of this. So or right around there, which would be a 78% retracement of that, basically close to. So that would be your reversal point for the Russell, which makes sense. I mean, because if you look at stocks, the S&P hasn't, it's not letting off here. It could, quite possibly grind a little bit higher into this channel. And I don't see any reason why it'll stop other than being a little overbought. So, if it continues to grind higher, it'll probably drag the Russell with it as well. But you pointed out, Dale, volatility is actually a little higher this morning. Not worried about it yet, but it is bouncing off of support. And, channel support was there last week, and, we're gapping up a little bit into that channel. So,
yeah, especially with new highs across the board. I mean, you would think the VIX would be 12. with as bullish and euphoric as the market is.
Yeah, you would think so. And so, the reason, it's probably bid up a little bit, it's, ahead of what's going to gear up to be a really big week. I know today is really slow, and I'm not expecting any fireworks today. Matter of fact, I think today is a good day to not be doing a whole lot. But after tomorrow, when you have CPI come out, and then as Kman pointed out, and these guys were talking about, we have retail sales, producer prices, lots of data coming out this next week, or this week. So some pretty big moves could really develop. Especially, I love the fact that that CPI is coming out tomorrow, because it gives the rest of the week a lot of time for follow through. Should we get it? And I think that's going to be a big deal. What we can do really quick is go through some of these the FX pairs and just kind of show you how contained these moves are. If you look at the euro, we're in a ascending channel. Cable stopped right at the 50% retracement again. Yeah. So a little bit of a big rejection overnight, and stop out of a lot of people that might have been on the short side. They might have had their stops right above 126.50. We triggered those levels and then reversed. The commodity currencies are holding up pretty well. Actually, you're seeing a little bit of a reversal in the Aussie, and I don't think that's a product of the Aussie really reversing, but it's a product of the Aussie Kiwi actually bouncing after being very, very oversold. I'm actually looking to sell rallies here in the Aussie Kiwi sometime this week. Hopefully I can get my hands on a little bit later this week. Kiwi struggling around the 38% retracement, and the dollar CAD is just very, very quiet. And we have out of Canada this week, I don't know if we have much going on. Actually, I think this is a pretty light week for Canadian data. I have a feeling it's going to be more moved by what's happening in some of the just the rest of the dollar markets. Ryan, do you have anything happening in Canada this week?
I think we got some housing start numbers from Canada. That's about it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fairly quiet. Real quick, Ryan, what's some of the big trade ideas that you guys have, or that you've been thinking about now that you've had time to be in front of the computer for several hours this morning? I'm still getting up and getting assessed to what's happened over the overnight. What are you thinking right now?
Yeah, I think today's about getting set up for the rest of the week. I think you've got to look at cable this week. You've got to look at a pound this week, because as I said, there's next to no decent European data or any other data coming out. Only Aussie jobs, I think, is the only other data that's not UK or US.
There's a ton of UK data this week.
Yeah, so the cable is gonna be a lot in focus. I'm leaning towards maybe selling a rally up to 128 on good UK data, because as long as US data doesn't fall out of bed, that's gonna outweigh what data does in the UK. So yeah, if we get a decent rally, because you get the US, obviously the UK data coming out before the US data, so a good rally up 128 to the top of that range, I might be a bit tempted.
Yeah, because tomorrow morning before the CPI data, you guys have jobs data out of the UK.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Even though that's still a bit wobbly at the moment, because they've got their calculator buttons still in the wrong order, so they don't know what they're doing with that one. But watch the wages number for that. We've still got sticky wages over there, so that will be the component to watch.
The average hourly index is supposed to like all inflation data that we're seeing, edge down a little bit, correct?
Yeah, down to 5.8% versus 6.5% previous. But even then, it's still big numbers. But yeah, if it doesn't come down as far, that's going to be a bit hawkish for the BOE, at least for the higher for longer message.
So, looking at like the euro sterling, we've had, delete all this stuff. Actually, you know what? I'll just look at one that I already drawn. Here's the euro sterling here. We're still threatening to break down. I mean, this is a real risk for euro bulls at this point, because if we break 85 pence. I mean, that's going to open up. That's like a trap door, below there, and that's going to weigh on the euro across the board, I would think.
Yeah.
Where's the
So-
bear
But
line
for
on
this
that?
for this week, you need to look at this one from a closing basis, because there's enough volatility in the data when you're 30 pips away, 40 pips away to blast through on a good number. But can we hold that break? So if we finish the week, close the week below 85 because of good data, 84.80, then we're probably heading lower. But if we just dip under there, can't hold it, and we're back above in the close of the week, then we'll probably stay in the range.
What if
Yeah.
we close over 86?
Well, if we close over 86, then
yeah,
that means the sterling's probably getting destroyed. Then I would
Right.
assume.
yeah,
Yeah, that would be a
data's
bottom.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because that's a 38% retracement right there, just at 85.90. So like we get above that, and yeah, I wouldn't want to be on the long side of the sterling in that situation by the end of the week. So
You know how you put on some positions and you're early, but you're not getting buried? Sometimes that's a sign that you're on the right side of things, even though it hasn't happened yet. And
yeah,
I've been long.
I'm sorry. I just
It's
just
okay.
noticed we're seeing a little bit of dollar moves coming on, and it was yields that was under pressure earlier. You can see here. Let me pull up the 10-year. 10-year was under a little bit of pressure overnight, and you're seeing the dollar actually stage a little bit of a recovery. I'm not sure if it's not any fixing flows or anything, but you got the dollar yen that's trying to hold up here, and you're seeing the dollar just kind of making some headway. Anything that you guys see that is moving the market other than just the dollar reshuffling, I guess. Well, anyway, it's gonna be an interesting week. Very, very slow start to the week, in my opinion. You guys were talking about gold and silver, and I want to point out that gold. Let's look at the gold market. We're literally on triangle support. What I think is triangle support is like right here, and this, you can do something like that. This is a very important support, but silver, all of a sudden got some giddy up out of nowhere. I don't know if it's going anywhere other than it just kind of popped up. But if silver stops, then gold, I think, is threatening actually to break lower. And if the dollar picks up any steam like this, or we see a rally back in yields, gold might be the first one under some pressure. You guys have any views on precious metals? I know you talked a little bit about them earlier.
I want to see where silver's at when gold is trading, say 1960.
Yeah. Silver has been the leader, so it'll be interesting to see if silver holds up on any type of selling that we see in the gold market. I just don't know if that's going to be the case. Hey, Kman, what's your best ideas going into the what's your best ideas going into this week that you're seeing?
Best ideas that I'll tell you that at the end of the week.
Yeah, see? Not even Kman knows.
What do you say, Neil?
Not even Kman knows.
No.
It doesn't apply to trading, knowing, does it?
Listen, I'm going to look at, of course, the CPI tomorrow, but there's one particularly for that on my radar, because we have the combination of both Swiss and US CPI tomorrow. And listening to Jordan, he said that actually we could see a little bit of a spike, but then coming back off in the CPI tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but during this time of year. If that CPI in Switzerland undershoots again, because it's been coming off, and let's say that we get a bit of a stickier CPI than expected on out of the US, then that 88, 10, 20 on dollar Swiss is still my magic level over there. We've got all sorts of actions, prior high lows. In the meantime, we're holding above the daily cloud, which comes in around 87.20, and that's going to be the marker on to the first market to the downside for tomorrow morning. And then, yeah, I'm as I said on the Flow Show, I've been very positive towards sterling for a good while. I've let the rest of my sterling positions go today because I want to be neutral going into this week's data. There's something that tells me that, I mean, this 85, we've been talking about it so often, but this 85 in euro sterling is really shaping up as being very big. And cable, although it had a very good bounce of that 125.25, I want to see if the sterling data this week continue to show a better sterling behavior. If not, I think there may be some correction time coming in the sterling this week. So I'm much more cautious on the sterling. And then the other one that is obviously always on my radar is the dollar yen. Are we going to break those November highs above 149.75 or not this week? We also may have a bit of news coming out of those wages in Japan, although not the biggest ones. It's going to be an interesting week on a lot of pairs, but looking at the volatility still in the dollar yen, this one may be one that is on the move. And I would say, especially if we get better or stickier numbers out of the States because of what Ueda and his friends were saying last week.
Yeah, Uchida was it was really kicked it off last week. And I have been very constructive on the US dollar Japanese yen, the last couple of weeks. And I have to say that the pullbacks have been extremely shallow, which really is starting to build the risk for some topside breakouts here. I mean, I forget who said it to me last week, said 160 might be the new 150 for dollar yen. And you start seeing it break above this 152, and it's gonna open up some upside there.
Yeah, it's very possible. And last week I was looking actually at pricing up 1 year 160 or 165 calls.
Yeah, how they price right now?
Oh, well, it's actually relatively cheap if you look at it. But it was we were in the low 148s then. I think it was around 50 or 55 pips, which is, all things considered, pretty cheap. Let me find those back. Yeah.
While you're looking at that, I have to point out, like you take currencies like the Kiwi yen, which the Kiwi, has seen a little bit of downside pressure today after Orr's comments overnight, or an Asian trade. But you can see that the dollar, I mean, the New Zealand yen is in massive breakout territory. I mean, this is a weekly chart, and I tried playing the other side of this a few months ago, and it's a very difficult trade, just trying to be short and staying short through some of this. But you can see how we're breaking out, and that's not the only yen pair that's showing some signs of life. You look at the Canadian yen's trying to break out to the upside. Aussie yen's getting close despite the really poor performance of copper and China. You see the Aussie yen just nudge right up here against the highs. You start to see some good UK data, and this pound yen is going to break out to the upside. So these yen pairs look threatening. They look threatening. Like, we can see some further yen weakness across the board. It's not just the dollar yen. So
definitely.
Yeah. So anyway, I know you were looking at pricing on some of those options, but yeah, I mean, if they're cheap and not many people are expecting it, that could be a decent hedge, especially for those of you that are trying to play the yen to the long side, which has been a very, very difficult trade.
So far, we are nearly a month and a half into the new year. And remember what I said on the first phase of the year? I said, I think the yen will close the year higher than where we open. And that was around 142.
Yeah. And because that's supposed... Yeah, remember, long yen is supposed to be the trade of 2024. That's the big consensus trade, which, I was like, nah, I don't think so. Not at the beginning of the year, but here we are. Now it's moved a lot higher. And it's only been a month and some change. There's a lot of time left in the year, but as we've heard from the Bank of Japan, they are not giving us any clues to be long yen at this point.
Wow.
So
Q2 of this year is going to be where it all happens.
What's that?
Q2 of this year, their start of their new year. And but even in general, I think for a lot of central bank business, Q2 of this year is going to be the quarter not to miss.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we got another month of shuffling through, and as we do that and we get ready for tomorrow, guys, gals, make sure you guys are in the ForexAnalytix community. It's going to be a busy one this week, especially with all the US and UK data. Make sure you don't miss it. Dale, I know you got Tracy. She's here today. I want to thank you, Ryan Kman, for blessing us with your presence today. And Dale, thank you for guiding us every day. And I hope you have a great interview with Tracy. I know myself, Ryan, and Stelios are going to be joining Tracy and her podcast on Valentine's Day. What a Valentine's Day gift for us guys.
Woohoo! Just don't tell my wife. I'm meeting another woman on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I know. My wife's not going to be so happy about that.
All right. Well, they can trust Tracy. Maybe not you, but they could trust Tracy. Tracy, Happy New Year. How are you?
Hey, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, so you're a host now. You know, another new transition. Podcast host.
Podcast host. Yes, I have. Mic Drop Markets podcast, and then we just started Mic Drop Market Spaces. So
yeah, so you're pretty active out there. So what are the messages you're hearing and thinking about as, you know, we're about a month into the first quarter? Also, I hear you're with Andy and those guys now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
All right.
I am doing some stuff with them too. Yep.
Very smart guy. So here we are with what WTI. I think you're long, aren't you?
Yes, we are long here. But we have our options are way further out at this point. But, you know, I mean, we're still in this consolidation range, still, you know, waiting to break out really since November. We've been range bound. And so I think, you know, what we're really looking at, or what I'm really looking at is diesel here at this point, because we're going to have a very tight diesel market this year. We're already seeing gas oil cracks completely blow out. So I think that will keep crude oil buoyed a little bit. It's also good news, obviously, for straight play refiners.
Okay, so that narrative was happening a year ago too, wasn't it? I know a lot of truckers went out of business because they couldn't afford the diesel.
Yeah, we had a problem. We had a problem in 2021. Obviously we had a problem in 2022, 23. It wasn't as pronounced, right? But now we're starting to see that again.
Okay. So the energy complex supported by diesel demand.
By the diesel demand. And we're already seeing, I mean, if we look at tons at ports right now, you know, 2020-23 blew out 2020-22. We also have the trucking industry ready to, you know, the trucking recession basically is what they've been calling it, is coming to an end. And we've also seen a really big increase in rail freight. So it's looking good for the distillate markets. And, you know,
does any of this have to do with the Red Sea? And can you give me a symbol of one of the refiners that you like? I'll pull it up.
I like MPC.
Okay.
But any straight play refiner will do well. PSX, VLO, M is Mary, PC. Is no M, PC.
M. Okay.
Yeah, M is in Mary.
Hey, anyone trading that? See that chart?
Yeah, I'm like, well, I don't even know what that is.
I thought I was, you know, hallucinating. Okay, Marathon. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and that's been one of my favorites for the last couple of years, actually.
There it is. Okay.
So doing very
yeah,
well.
holding up much better than a lot of the other oils, the producers, major producers, except that they've kind of
Yeah.
come to life too, haven't they? In the last, they're starting to hold up better.
Yeah, they definitely have, but I just think straight play refiners for this particular play are better right now than say the integrateds like XOM and CBX, even though I still like the majors. But for this particular play, I think straight play refiners work better.
Look at that, the difference between that and the XLE. XLE's been dogging it. So go to Tracy if you're interested in energy. She spots a relative strength, and want to know what you think is the uranium play due for a rest. I know we've had some sell off, and Cameco, and
yeah, we've had it. That market's
but
been
what a great move you even had in Uroi for a week.
So, I think that's going to take, that was a nice little play. I think this is Uroi is going to take some time to play out again. I said this is kind of a long-term hold for me, a long-term portfolio hold. And, we've had the uranium markets. If you look at uranium futures, it's been straight up.
It has been. It's
so
almost like cocoa.
well, exactly. And so,
if there's uranium, right? These are the miners.
That's the miners.
Yeah. So it's a Sprott. Do you use the Sprott one?
The Sprott is the physical, and that one's good. URA is the ETF.
Okay. All right.
And then I think
here's the Sprott.
Yeah.
So that looks a little heavy too.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's been straight
yeah,
up.
It's been parabolic move since last summer.
Exactly. I mean, I think, if you didn't get a chance to get in, I think this market will let you get back in again. I'd love to touch that. What do you have that your green line? What is that? Your 50?
Yeah, that's a 50.
That it would be nice to test that just to get a little air out of this market.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Inflationista, I believe did you like fertilizer stocks a while ago?
That was back in 2020, September of 2020, but good memory.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it's
I think
unless you still think it's relevant.
No, not really anymore. I mean, we don't have, unless we have a nat gas crunch again. I think that, that the market's going to be that trade it played out.
You're an inflationista. I'd buy these. They're very out of favor. No, the grains have been the only sector not to participate in this commodity rally for a long time since the invasion of Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cheap. Gold, still have faith in the gold market?
I think gold still looks good. It's holding up here. I think that when the Fed starts cutting rates, that will actually help the gold trade, to be honest.
Okay. And dollar, Trace?
Hanging in there. I think the dollar is, again, I think there's a lot of strength right now for obvious reasons of the geopolitical things that are happening in the world today. It's safe haven currency. And again, I think that this is, again, a play for, I think we'll see a pullback in the dollar once the Fed starts cutting rates. And then I think that's when you're going to see your industrial metals go.
Okay. You mean like
copper.
It would reverse this downtrend?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really not even a downtrend, but the last.
It's not really a downtrend. Yeah, again, another sideways market since November. But I think that it will finally be able to break out substantially over that $4 just because of the fundamentals of the market. I mean, we're heading into the next, 2 to 5 years of severe undersupply. And I think right now, really, the only thing that's holding this market down is fears of China and the strength of the US dollar.
Okay. Do you have a favorite fiat? Would it be a commodity currency like Aussie?
So I'm not a currency.
Okay. I thought I'd check it out.
Unfortunately, but I mean, obviously, I think that if we see a boost in commodities, we'll see probably a boost in the Aussie.
Okay.
If we see a pullback in U.S. dollar as well.
Any view on yields?
We're back up, hitting up against that resistance, right? And so it's kind of make or break here.
Okay, let's approach the elephant in the room. Is natural gas going negative?
Actually, Waha has gone negative, but it's pretty landlocked. But again, this market is so oversupplied, it's really hard to get sort of a bullish thesis right now. And then as soon as the Biden administration said they were halting export licenses, obviously that didn't do any favors to this market, because that means that,
You cut out demand.
You're right. So obviously that's not doing this market any favor. So, I just don't see a catalyst for much to change in this market right now.
Yeah.
Barring any unforeseen circumstance, but the market's very well supplied right now.
How many widows do you think this market created between
A
here
lot.
and there?
Every day.
I'll admit it. I tried it too. What?
But they say, low prices will fix that, because prices get low enough, they'll stop producing. And so
it's probably today, what I would wait for, and I didn't wait for it, is wait for a key reversal day on something like this.
Yeah, you have to.
And you might get one today if we take out Friday's high was 186. That'd be a nice move.
We really need to start hearing producers say, this is just not economical for us right now. We're going to stop drilling.
Yeah.
And then that's where you're going to see a nice reversal. But, I don't know. To me, this is catching knives right now, and I don't know.
Okay. All right. Do you have any view on, with all the political uncertainty in a presidential election year, what impact either or both might have on markets? Do you have a view on that?
Well, I think that, as far as the election is concerned here in the United States, I think Janet Yellen works for the Biden administration, and she's going to do everything that she possibly can to avoid a recession. So that means she keeps butting heads with the Fed, right? Yeah. Exactly. And so, she's issuing a bunch of debt as Powell's trying to rein it in. So I don't really see that,
she's not going to, I mean, don't you think, I saw something by Danielle, and her take on the 60-minute thing with Powell was he was coming out, in a way admitting that it was wrong to monetize all that fiscal debt, and that he's not going to play that game anymore.
Right.
So was that a message to her?
I mean, well, again, obviously Yellen and Powell talk, but they're completely, separate entities. And so, it doesn't, again, Yellen works for the Biden.
They're not having an affair.
No. And so I'm just saying, I just think that during an election year, Yellen's not going to quit. Powell probably, not going to quit. Again, I think I said last time, no way in March they're going to lower rates.
Cut. Okay. Still feel that way.
Still feel that way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else? I know, it's supposed to run a half an hour, but I'm also a believer in the quality and getting to the point. So, is there anything else you want to talk about, Trace?
No,
that
I think
we haven't
we're good.
covered?
I think I still really like silver, right? I know that we're still range bound on that, but again, I expect a breakout on that at some point.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And that is also a fundamental play because silver is not only, quote unquote, a store of value trade, but it's also an industrial metal, right? And you need a lot of silver for solar panels and electric vehicles and even wind turbines. And so that it's,
and it's had a nice correction from the spike. Yeah. Right. We were $26 up there. So, and it's the first time I've heard you talk silver.
Well, maybe I haven't with you before.
We mainly just talk about the gold, but are you a believer? Silver. Are you a believer that the white stuff leads? David Morgan taught me that.
I don't necessarily. I think they're I don't know. I think they're totally.
Like there's platinum and palladium. The blondes.
Actually, platinum actually has, in the first time in 5 years, is trading higher than palladium because palladium was getting too expensive. And of course, platinum can be used for catalytic converters.
Yeah, they're being ripped off everywhere. People's catalytic converters. That's a new industry almost. So do you remember, Tracy? I know you were only in kindergarten, I think, when platinum used to trade at a premium to gold.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
look at it. Yeah.
I remember that, but I mean, yeah. But so, I still really like platinum too. I've always liked platinum. I think what I like about platinum is it has very viable dips if you look at it.
Yeah. Okay. So that might be a trade long term, right? Platinum, maybe even if it got back to just only being a few $100 discount to gold. I think these are historic levels of platinum being negative to gold. So just something I saw. So any website you want me to show about, what you're doing, Trace? And
yeah, you can show people dampspring.com, Andy's stuff and where to sign up for my stuff there. So it's not on.
So that's
I'm still hilltowerresourceadvisors.com. But I do, if you can check out my website, I do bespoke. I have analysts there and you can sign up for their stuff. If you go to subscribe, you can sign up for my analysts. They do daily stuff. And I don't know why that's there. I'll have to ask them why I have to ask why this is like this. Very strange.
Oh, you mean that? The language. Yeah. I got it.
I have talked to my web designer, but anyway, so I have 3 analysts. They're very great. They do the daily stuff, and then I do bespoke for larger institutional clients.
Okay. And there she is.
But if you want to subscribe to my retail stuff, then that's
with Andy.
Yeah, that's with Andy. Correct.
Okay. At dampspring.com.
Dampspring.com. Yes.
And so, the other guy on the team is an author, Jimmy Jude, right?
Jimmy. Yep.
Yeah. So you're really connected. And let me ask you this, since you're so connected, I know you do a lot of your writing, but now that you're starting to do podcasts and doing these things on X, doesn't talking to other people and interviewing other people give you an edge?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Because on my Wednesday spaces, as you know, I mean, I was doing it for Place Your Trades last year. Now I've rolled it into, it's this exact same format. It's the exact same thing. I'm just doing it under my own brand, Mic Drop Markets. But, I've gotten to talk to people across the entire financial spectrum in markets that I literally have no idea about and have learned so much. So I think it's fantastic.
It's called intelligence gathering, and it certainly has given me an edge over the last 7 years of doing it. So I think it's a great thing to do, because if you keep an open mind, you keep your account open.
Absolutely.
Right? So Trace, I hope you guys, all your connections and everyone you're networking, working with. I hope all you guys have a great 2024. And
Absolutely.
that it's your best year ever, and much success on, being a host. I modeled my career. You may have to go to YouTube to check it out, after Ted Baxter on the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I remember that show.
Do you remember Ted Baxter?
I remember that show. Well, I watched the reruns.
Well, hit it up on YouTube, Ted Baxter, and you'll know how I develop my style. Anyway, always great talking to you, Tracy. Thanks for going around the board and batting the ball around with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Everybody have a great day. Good luck out there.
All right. Tracy at Shy Girl. Follow her and read her stuff. Should be part of your intelligence gathering, in my opinion.
And come to our Wednesday spaces.
Oh, yeah. Blake and Ryan and
Blake and Stelios are going to be this Wednesday. So drop in Wednesday. It's my pinned tweet. If you want to go click to, hit a reminder.
Yeah, and it'd be good to hear Stelios. He's not that active on F.A.C.E anymore, so he's very good on the macro. And Ryan's pretty amazing too, and we all know about Blake. So have a great show. Hope you have a lot of eyeballs.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dale. Have a good day, Tracy. Everyone.
All right. Adios, my trading warrior sister. Take it easy.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. All right, that's a wrap, everyone. Could join the team in about 25 minutes on the Morning Edge. If you want to get better, surround yourself with traders better than you, and you'll rise to their level. And good luck, everyone. Good hunting. See everyone for Turnaround Tuesday. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And see everyone tomorrow. You're welcome, Patrick. People are thanking you, Tracy. And we'll see everyone mañana. Adios.